Hey everyone, welcome to Tech Newsday, and this episode is sponsored by Vincero Watches. We'll tell you more about them later in the show, but first some news.
It's that time again, fellow American wage earners. Tax day is less than a week away.
Wait, hold on!
So if you haven't gotten to work organizing all of your income, property, investment, expense, and charity data from the past year to figure out what the hell you owe to the federal and state governments, or whether they owe you money, well, you don't have much time left.
Now you wrap it up all in a ball and throw it in the post office.
The direction of Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
You could pay a certified public accountant to handle the task for you and use their expert knowledge of the U.S. tax code to ensure that you're not missing out on any tax savings. But at this point, good luck finding an accountant willing to take you on as a client this close to tax day.
You got to plan better. The only options that you're left with now are either one, head over to irs.gov, download the Form 1040 individual income tax return, read the 117-page instruction manual for how to properly fill it out, do it all yourself, and then do the same for your state tax. Or you could, step two, use software like TurboTax to just walk you through the whole thing for a price. Now, it's not usually a very hefty price, though, and hey, you can't put a cost on convenience, especially these days. When you're paying $5 to $10 for 1 hour deliveries, it's sad, kind of, but it works. Maybe there could be a simpler way, though. A nice, simple way for the average taxpayer to just file their taxes for free, easily.
Well, if your answer to that hypothetical was, companies like TurboTax who spend millions on congressional lobbying and campaign donations would absolutely do everything in their power to prevent that because it would mean lower profits for them.
Oh.
Then congratulations, you've won.
Yeah, makes sense, I guess.
And you'll also need to report your winnings on a separate form that's actually not available in the basic package. That's going to be $20 more, thanks.
Yeah.
But yeah, our tax system here in America is extremely dumb and could easily be fixed if not for tax software companies having a vested interest in keeping things dumb.
The vast majority of the tax information you submit to the IRS as an individual, it's information that they already have, obviously. It's already been provided to them by the same people who sent you your tax documents. Your employers, your student loan creditors, your financial brokers, all of those people. They all submit stuff to the IRS. They know. So one seemingly obvious way to simplify individual taxes would be for the IRS to provide taxpayers with a form that's already mostly filled out, which you just need to double check and add any additional information to. It's called return-free filing, and it's already a reality in several countries. And it's also an idea that was previously endorsed by both Ronald Reagan and Barack Obama. Both sides of the aisle.
Yeah, but what would appear to be a rare bipartisan solution to a completely unnecessary problem has been successfully opposed for years by the tax software industry, specifically Intuit, the makers of TurboTax, who spend more on lobbying than Apple or Microsoft do. They've helped kill multiple attempts at passing laws that would allow for return-free filing, which they say they oppose because it would be too much big government. But obviously it's just because, they'd make less money if a law like that were to pass. And it's not like any of these laws have sought to make return-free filing through the IRS mandatory or to ban private companies from selling tax software. If a person is convinced that the IRS handling their taxes for them would mean getting screwed out of potential savings, they would still have every right to bypass that and go through TurboTax if they wanted.
And it would be a great incentive for companies like TurboTax or H&R Block's online stuff to be like, hey, when you use our stuff, we're going to find those extra savings that you might look over.
Well, that's the whole reason. That's what accountants are for.
Yeah.
The point of an accountant is not to just do your taxes. The point of an accountant is to
make sure that you're not overpaying
really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, of course, even when return-free filing does manage to pass at the state level, it's passed here in California, the tax software lobby still does all that it can to make sure that barely anyone uses it. California actually had a pilot program for return-free filing over a decade ago for state taxes, but the tax software lobby poured a ton of money into killing it. What eventually survived was a program called CalFile. It still does simplify tax preparation quite a bit, and it also costs absolutely nothing, but it no longer has the return-free part where the government says, here's what we know about you and what we think you owe.
Yeah.
Get the big government out of my government.
Yeah. They already know all this.
Hey.
So anyway, yeah, if this video has so far inspired you to pick up the phone and yell at your representative about how you want a return-free filing option for your federal taxes, well, it's too damn late, kiddo.
Yeah.
TurboTax may have officially won that debate this week. The Taxpayer First Act of 2019.
They're always the best names that make you feel like you're really getting something good.
Yeah, well, yeah, sounds like they're putting taxpayers first here. Let's see what it is.
Yeah.
It was overwhelmingly passed in the House of Representatives on Tuesday.
Which has a Democratic majority, and this makes me so fucking angry.
Yeah. Well,
you fucking Democrats.
It's because it was one of those big bills that has like 500 laws in it, and it's like, well, it's mostly good. But yeah, it was passed in the House on Tuesday. It's headed to the Senate next at some point. The resolution, it included a ton of changes meant to modernize the IRS, many of which were presumably good and long overdue. But it also includes a new rule permanently banning the IRS from creating a free electronic tax filing system.
Well, that's what the fucking lobbyists are working for. They're like, yeah, fine, do all this shit, but you have to keep our stuff in here. And It's like, fine. And hey, to be fair, at least the House took sort of a step in the right direction yesterday. You know, one bad thing, one decent thing with net neutrality. So it's like, Anyways, a big reason the tax software lobby was able to get that included was by offering a free market alternative in the form of a program called Free File. Basically, it's TurboTax and a bunch of other online tax preparation companies offering free tax software, which sounds fine, but look at this shit. Each one of these has its own set of restrictions on income, age, and location, which disqualifies a lot of people from using them. Compared to a return-free, cost-free option open to anyone directly through the IRS, Free File it's a bullshit half measure that only exists to line the pockets of TurboTax and their fellow cartel members so they can spend more money on lobbying or even more dumb shit, like paying people to stand in Statue of Liberty outfits out in front of their stores, waving people in.
Yeah, and if you do happen to qualify for Free File, but this is your first time hearing about it, well, that's because none of these companies really advertise it.
And why would they?
Yeah, it's almost like they have a vested interest in people not knowing about Free File, despite Free File being their excuse for why big government shouldn't have its own alternative. God damn it. If you head over to TurboTax.com, there's not a single mention of their Free File option on the front page. They do, however, offer a free edition of TurboTax on their product page, but if you've got student loan debt that you want to claim, or you donated to charity at all, or you worked any kind of 1099 freelance gig, you don't qualify for the free version.
And the thing is like, 1099 freelance gigs used to not be, they've been very big for very long.
It used to mean you were freelancing.
But now, 1099s, you're probably, like, most people probably have multiples because they're like, I drive for Uber, Lyft, Postmates, all these, like, the shared economy stuff is all 1099s. So it's the
1099 job sector has grown
exponentially
quite a bit in the past few years.
Look at all these jobs.
And in fact, if you have any 1099 work, it not only disqualifies you from the free version, you get fucked the most. You're forced to purchase the highest tier TurboTax package, which starts at $120 and goes up even more if you want to file your state taxes too, which you should.
Yeah.
Because you owe them money as well.
The job growth is great. We created a bazillion new jobs. Now, sure, every one person has 5 jobs now, but you can't lie.
So many jobs.
The results don't lie.
God damn it. We live in hell.
Doing your taxes for free is basically only an option if your work consists exclusively of W-2 jobs and you don't make a whole lot of money. And with more and more people doing working class gigs, especially because of the gig economy, where they're legally considered a contractor, not an employee, a lot of low-income people have to pay some hefty fees to get their taxes done. And let's be honest, a lot of people, if it's your first year doing this type of stuff, are probably going to screw up with filing it or be like, oopsie, I accidentally spent the money I should be saving for taxes.
Yeah, I definitely did that. My first job that was technically not a job.
Same thing. Glad I learned it then and not now when I partially own a business, because that would have been fucked. Anyways, honestly, if you make most of your money as a contractor, you're much better off spending that $150 or whatever on an actual accountant who knows how to write things off for you instead of TurboTax. What do you mean I can write off gas for my Ubers? Still, though, you should have a free option, and you don't. And it's all thanks to those greedy fuckers at TurboTax and H&R Block. You know how when everyone was like, fuck the banks, we're going to credit unions. You'd be like, fuck them, we're going to get accountants. And then you pay the extra just to spite these companies.
Yeah, well, anyways, while calling to yell at your representative is off the table, now's a great time to call and yell at your senator, who, in all likelihood, just based on statistics, is a Republican.
Yeah.
So it might be a futile Sisyphean effort, but this still needs their approval before it's made into law. In addition to the provision permanently banning the IRS from offering a free tax preparation alternative, another thing that you could yell at them about is the fact that this resolution will ban the IRS from hiring private debt collectors from going after people above a certain income. So if you're not rich and you don't pay your taxes, expect to be harassed day and night by collectors. If you're rich, expect none of that. Maybe a politely worded letter. Despite your unpaid taxes adding up to much more money than what those poors owe.
Yeah.
What a fucking country we have here.
Now it's time for a word from this week's sponsor, Vincero. Vincero makes luxury handcrafted watches at fair prices. Vincero's mission is to create compelling luxury timepieces with impeccable craftsmanship to inspire as many people as possible to elevate their game and ultimately live their legacy. For Vincero, luxury is a process. It's not about specs or price, and luxury isn't just a marketing term. It's about attention to detail and a step-by-step process to craft every product. This is what separates Vincero from the competition, and it's the belief that you deserve the best.
Vincero, they've been sponsoring us for a while now, but they're always putting out new products and styles and colors and whatnot. This time they've got the Rogue series, which I'm wearing right here. It combines the elegance that you see in all their other watches with the durability and water resistance of a sports watch.
Yeah.
As an athletic guy.
As an athlete.
As an athlete, on my way to Georgetown.
Yeah.
I depend on this watch to tell me what time it is.
Yes.
There's also plenty of new colors and configurations for their existing watches. There's something for everyone, so go check it all out by visiting vincerowatches.com/TechNewsdayApril. Or just click the link down below.
Yeah.
Enter the promo code Newsday at checkout, and you'll get 15% off your entire order. Exceptionally crafted, fairly priced. Get a Vincero watch at vincerowatches.com/TechNewsdayApril and promo code Newsday. Click the link down below.
Yeah, I got one specifically that I could wear all the time because the original one that I got from them was like
very fancy.
Yeah, because I needed a fancy watch.
I got a fancy one too that looks ridiculous if I wear it with a t-shirt. This one's a little more subdued.
Now I got just a walking around watch. And it's great.
My everyday carry.
No. And I'll tell you what, this one, not advertised as waterproof, but I've taken a shower with it on, no problems. So far. Now read their own fine print on their website, but no problem so far.
Are you a bad enough dude to take this watch in the shower?
I am, apparently. Anyways, let's check in on Facebook right now. It's, you know what Facebook is. It's a company whose motto at this point is just, fuck you. Last week, it was noticed that Facebook was just straight up asking users for the passwords to their email accounts. So, you know how when you make an account on Facebook or any website and they ask you to verify your email address by providing a code that they've emailed to you? Well, Facebook has apparently come up with a very convenient workaround for that, for some users at least, by just asking them to input their email address and password right there on Facebook to save those precious seconds that it would take to do things the old-fashioned way. And honestly, what could go wrong? I mean,
thanks,
sure.
Facebook.
Did they just weeks ago have a scandal about leaving all of their user information in plain text? Sure.
Now that you mention it, yes.
Yes.
Who can keep track of all the scandals?
That's what they are very good at embracing the constant scandal, no scandal. When you're constantly stacking scandals on top of one another, people forget about some of the scandals.
That's right. I've become numb to it.
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh, did you hear about the thing Facebook did? And they'd be like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, what? No,
but
blah, blah, blah.
And everyone just gets confused and starts drinking.
Who can even keep track of it?
Yeah.
Anyway, also last week, security researcher company UpGuard.
What UpGuard?
You want some UpGuard? They revealed that 2 third-party Facebook apps have had all of their user data just fully exposed for anyone who knew where to look for years now.
And you know what's usually the case? The people who know where to look, not great people.
Yeah, this exposed data includes stuff like names, likes, comments, friends, photos, events, groups, location check-ins, interests, and so on. It also included passwords, though these were just passwords for one of the specific apps, not people's Facebook passwords, though there's a pretty good chance some of these people might just use the same password everywhere.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Hey, that's my Facebook password.
And, there's a good chance that password has now been passed around quite a bit by some bad people for a long time. Facebook, of course, they made a big deal about fixing a lot of their data protection issues in their connected apps a while ago, but as this demonstrates, there's nothing anyone can really do about all of the data that apps collected before Facebook made those changes. It's just out there forever now.
Change your passwords.
Yeah.
We should just end every Tech Newsday episode with
Change your password.
And change your passwords. Security researchers at Cisco also, isn't that the same company that makes food for restaurants?
No.
Okay. The security researchers...
Cisco Systems.
Oh, okay.
Not to be confused with the very short singer with the silver hair.
Oh, the thong guy.
Thong guy.
Yeah.
The Cisco.
Security researchers at Cisco also revealed last week that they'd uncovered 74 Facebook groups devoted to the sale of stolen credit card data, stolen identity info, and hacking tools. And by uncovered, we mean they simply entered terms like carding and CVVs into Facebook's search bar and found all these groups just sitting there in plain sight with names like Spammer and Hacker Professional. Once they'd found a few of these groups, Facebook's suggestion algorithm helped them find even more by recommending similar groups.
Thanks, Facebook.
Facebook, of course, quickly took action once this was revealed to them, just like they did last year when a security researcher pointed out a bunch of cybercrime Facebook groups. So it seems that Facebook's policy here, as usual, is to just let bad shit happen until someone points it out, and then rinse and repeat over and over again.
Similarly, despite the fact that Facebook announced last month that they were banning white nationalist and white separatist users and groups from the platform, and they would be doing that using data from the Southern Poverty Law Center to do it, Gizmodo decided to actually check their work, and they found that dozens of white nationalist and white separatist groups tracked by Southern Poverty Law Center are still operating pages on Facebook. When contacted by Gizmodo about this, Facebook said they'd look into it, and also that they're mostly enforcing their new policy right now just based on user reports instead of actively doing anything.
Listen,
so that's probably why.
The excuse again, we got a lot of scandals going on.
Yeah.
Hard for us to focus on just one.
Yeah. What are we supposed to do? Hire humans?
Now, in some actual good Facebook news, though, the EU has basically forced Facebook to update their terms and conditions and make it abundantly clear to users that the site is free because of all the ads and tracking. They also have to disclose how much they make off that data, and they have to amend their liability policy to acknowledge their own liability in the event of another Cambridge Analytica data scandal.
Next time, they're not off the hook.
No. They also have to actually delete stuff off their servers when a user deletes it. And sounds like, according to Facebook, they'll be applying these new terms worldwide, which is good, even if it's long overdue.
It's almost like regulation,
sometimes works.
Is good, and it forces companies to be more responsible.
Sometimes works. Although there's a lot of bad fucking internet shit going on in the European Union right now as well. So
yeah, I'm not.
You get the good with the bad, and then you have
absolutely
society. We live in a society.
Yeah, I'm not patting the EU on the back here, but in this case, they do have a pretty good track record with like consumer protection, which is an area where I think
the U.S. is lacking
in terms of regulation, and that's something that should absolutely be regulated. But yeah, the Article 13 shit. Also, like, a bunch of the people that voted on Article 13 were just like, wait, I thought no meant yes. Like, they should have never voted on that. Anyways, to quickly wrap things up with a few more quick stories, a woman who's probably a Chinese spy got caught trying to install malware onto computers at Mar-a-Lago, aka the Florida White House, that also operates as a country club and is open to anyone who pays a membership fee or gets invited as a guest. Who could have predicted something like this happening?
Yeah, multiple hard drives, multiple thumbsticks, bunch of cell phones.
Yeah. Who could have guessed? But hey.
She's just very tech savvy.
Also in yikes, a 17-year-old boy in Ohio has been charged with 40 felonies and 33 misdemeanors related to numerous instances of swatting, aka making hoax phone calls to the police to trick them into raiding people's homes and possibly getting them killed.
Good.
So that's good. And finally, here's a picture of a black hole.
All I can think about is the goatsy thing.
That's God's asshole.
It is God's.
He's spreading it wide open.
We finally saw God's asshole.
Yep. That's where the universe's poop comes out.
And I'm just really excited for all the people today that are going out to the old tattoo parlor and getting the words "Event Horizon" tattooed right around their asshole.
Yeah.
So do it.
I feel like when I woke up and saw this trending, because it's big fucking news.
It's a big fucking
deal. I saw it trending. Literally my first thought as the most first world lazy thing ever, I was just like, wow, they couldn't have like focused the camera a little better.
It's like when they
so blurry.
Remember they launched the Hubble and it was just like there was a smudge or something. And they're like, shit.
This looks like shit.
And they had to like 10 years to fix it or something. And then they fixed it and it was like, oh wow, that's what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah. Well, apparently it's hard to focus on this thing because it's like the thing you're looking at is the size of like 10 galaxies.
Yeah.
It's very big.
Also, you know,
And very far away.
who invented the tech to be able to do this? A woman.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Women in STEM.
Good for her.
Who could have thought? But yeah, bravo. Great stuff. Anyways, that's it for today's episode. Watch yesterday's episode where we started talking about a fucking battle royale in real life thing and then just evolved into exposing a sham website. And also a brand new episode of Weekly Weird News. Check those out. And if you want to contribute to the show, head to our Patreon. Links below in the description. Check out our sponsors. Hit the join button. Do all that fun stuff. And
Change your passwords.
passwords.
And do your taxes.
Do your taxes.
Bye.
Bye.